You weren't supposed to find this today, but you did. What I'm about to show you was hidden for nearly 70 years because it could change everything we know about the human mind. It all started with Einstein's stolen brain and one mysterious frequency. Breathe with me. Notice the air moving in your chest. Hear the small sounds in the room. This moment is your portal. In the quiet between heartbeats, a field of subtle signals waits, a field that speaks in frequency, not words. Scientists and mystics have always pointed at the same place, the pineal gland, the third eye, the tiny organ that remembers how to tune. Imagine a signal passing through your skull like a key through a lock. A frequency arrives. Activation happens. Consciousness shifts. Creativity wakes. Focus aligns. Genius mode is not a trait you inherit. It is a resonance you enter. You are closer than you think. This message is not for the casual scroller. It is for the soul that felt a pull, the person who has searched the dark and wants the light to mean something. If that is you, know this: the divine can encode itself as sound. A simple vibration can rearrange neurons, open doors inside you, and invite an elegant reweaving of intelligence and intuition. Stay present. Keep your awareness soft and curious. This is not hype. It is an activation point. Inhale, exhale. This is where your next chapter quietly begins. Now that you're here, let's go deeper. From this stillness, we can finally see what this really means. Your awareness is open. Now, let's unfold the truth behind it. The mystery of Einstein's brain. Have you ever held a secret in your hands and felt the world tilt the moment you looked closer? When parts of Einstein's brain were removed and quietly studied, researchers expected one thing: a bigger engine, an obvious map of genius etched in more neurons. What they found instead was a subtle architecture, a landscape of folds and pathways that behaved like a finely tuned instrument. Think less bigger and more resonant. Like a crystal that sings when the right note is played, his brain showed patterns that responded to specific frequencies. Picture this: a city at night. The streets are the neurons, the lamps are synapses, and somewhere in the center sits a small bell, delicate, easily overlooked. Most of us search the city for size and light. Few listen for the bell. The stolen study of Einstein's tissue didn't just measure weight or volume. It revealed where that bell might ring. It hinted that intelligence can be awakened by the right signal, a frequency that aligns tissue, glia, and flow into a different operating field. This isn't magic divorced from science. Modern neuroscience whispers this quietly: that brain plasticity is not only chemical, but electrical and vibrational. Ancient wisdom called it the third eye, the pineal gland, the inner frequency. Today we call it activation of a field, a shift in consciousness. Both languages point to the same thing. A signal can change structure. You, listening now, are the protagonist of this story. Perhaps you've carried the ache of being told your gifts were fixed at birth. Maybe you've suffered seasons of numbness, longing for clarity, for sudden focus that feels like a hand steadying your pen. Imagine that clarity arriving not through harsh effort, but through resonance. 6 minutes of alignment, that tunes your inner bell. There is a twist here that rewrites the old narrative. Genius wasn't hidden in a rare gene. It was encoded in how our tissue responds to sound, a vulnerability and an opportunity. That's why the discovery sat in shadows for decades. A tool that could democratize genius threatens old beliefs about destiny and worth. Now, thousands are quietly reclaiming that possibility, using sound as a bridge back to innate intelligence. Notice your chest rise and fall as you read this. Feel the small still point behind your eyes. That place is listening. If you want to hear the specific tones researchers found and join those who've already felt the shift, the precise frequency is in the description below. A link to a listening practice used by more than 92,000 seekers. What if the next 6 minutes you give yourself becomes the hinge on which a new clarity swings? How does a wave of sound travel from the ear to the pineal? And what does it open when it arrives? The secret power of brain frequencies. Neuroscience now whispers what mystics have taught for centuries. Sound can sculpt the architecture of your mind. Imagine a cathedral of neurons inside your skull, corridors of possibility lit by pulses of vibration. Certain frequencies act like a subtle mason, aligning pathways, clearing debris, and opening doors that once felt forever closed. This is not fantasy. It's the gentle physics of resonance meeting the deep intelligence of your biology. When the right frequency passes through your field, the pineal gland, that small, luminous antenna at the center of your head, begins to register a different signal. The third eye eases into focus. Awareness sharpens. Patterns that were fuzzy become crisp. You have lived long enough with static, scattered attention, sudden creative droughts, the heavy fog of overwhelm. These are not moral failures. They are mistuned circuits. What the research suggests is simple and fierce. Sound does not invent genius. Sound shifts the hush that hides it. It prunes old connections and invites new ones, a reweaving of neural threads that favors insight, deep focus, and unconventional problem solving. In this rewiring, what we call genius mode is less a title and more a state, a field of heightened clarity where your mind works in ways it was always capable of, but rarely allowed. Here's the twist. It isn't the loudness or the drama that matters. It's timbre, timing, and intention. A very precise frequency can open a gate. A wrong one may simply be noise. And the heart of the matter is subtle. The activation is cooperative. Your body, breath, and inner focus are partners in the process. The sound is the key, and your attention turns the lock. That's why 6 minutes, done with presence, can become a ritual of activation rather than another checkbox. You may have been taught to think of intelligence as static, as a card you were dealt. But when a stolen brain and curious minds began to map the contours of genius, a new hypothesis emerged. Intelligence can be catalyzed by resonance. Thousands are now experimenting with this knowledge, and ordinary lives show extraordinary shifts. A problem untangled in hours. A poem that arrives whole. A project that finally finds structure. These are not miracles imposed from outside. They are awakenings from within, seated by a frequency and watered by your willingness to listen. If you felt the longing to do more, to think clearer, to remember the effortless flow you once had as a child, this is an invitation. What would it mean for you to let sound rearrange the furniture of your mind? How would 6 minutes change the story you tell yourself each morning? And what might open next if you answer that invitation? The hidden discovery, why this research was buried for decades, and how over 92,000 people are now using it. For nearly 70 years, a simple signal sat at the edge of our knowledge, quietly waiting while powerful stories insisted genius was only for the chosen few. When Einstein's brain was taken, studied, and cataloged in secret corners of medicine, something unexpected surfaced: micro-architectural patterns and a resonance signature that suggested the brain could be shaped not only by genes, but by frequency. That discovery did not fit the neat narrative of fixed IQ, of talent as a birthright. So it was tucked away, not out of pure malice, but because it threatened institutions, profits, and identities built on the idea that brilliance is scarce. Admitting otherwise is messy. It forces systems to change. It threatens the comfortable idea that most people simply cannot access higher creative states. There is another layer to the silence. The discovery touched a place science and spirit both quietly point to: the pineal, the third eye, the place that reads the subtle field. Once you suggest that a frequency can nudge that organ, awaken dormant neural corridors, or retune how attention and imagination couple, you step into taboo territory. Too spiritual for some, too practical for others. So the work was marginalized, written off as anecdote, lost behind paywalls, or buried in unread journals. Here's the twist few expect. The information didn't need grand institutions to survive. It traveled in small, persistent ways, in lab notes, in a few brave researchers, in musicians who stumbled into transformative tones, and in people who felt intuitively called to listen. Ordinary seekers began experimenting in kitchens and bedrooms. They found that a 6-minute signal, delivered with intention and consistency, altered their inner landscape, sharpening focus, opening associative leaps, and tilting the mind toward creative problem-solving. Today, more than 92,000 people report using this method in daily practice, not as a long ritual, but as a brief, portable activation that fits a life already full of demands. These are not celebrities or lab rats. They are teachers, nurses, parents, programmers, survivors of hardship who wanted a shift faster than years of training could offer. Many came because the method promised no complicated dogma, just a signal, a field to align with, and the chance to remember capacities that felt lost under trauma, fatigue, or doubt. If you want to explore how this hidden frequency works in practice, there are links in the description pointing to original notes, community reports, and safe ways to begin. But before you click, consider this quiet question. What would change in your life if the label "not gifted" dissolved? And what remained was room to activate, to rehearse a new neural song that calls your mind into genius. You made it this far, and that matters. Thank you for staying with the signal. In a world full of distractions, your choice to listen is the first activation. This is a quiet celebration. You are the one who answered the subtle call, who let a different frequency touch you. That willingness, is the seed from which real shifts begin. If you arrived weary, carrying doubt, or old grief, know this: your openness right now rewrites the story. The inner instrument that guides insight, your subtle antenna of awareness, responds to attention. Every breath you gave to this moment tuned that antenna a little clearer. That alone is a change no one else can take away. You are not an observer here. You are a participant in a shared experiment of awakening. Across the world, people are discovering that certain frequencies are not just sound. They are gentle architects that rearrange attention, creativity, and clarity inside the brain. If something in you whispered yes during this video, you have already felt the contour of that possibility. You are part of a growing circle that remembers how to listen again. If you want to go deeper, I placed a safe doorway in the description below. The direct link to the exact 6-minute frequency and the guided activation so many have used to repattern focus and open imagination. It's simple, accessible, and designed for people who live real lives and still long for inner transformation. Click the link, try it, and see how your field responds. And when you return, share what shifted. We are a small constellation of seekers who support each other. Drop a yes in the comments if this message touched you. Share one truth you want to uncover next. A single word is enough. Your experience matters. Someone reading your comment might find the pattern they've been missing. If you know a soul who needs to remember possibility, send this to them. Let's build a kind, curious tribe that honors each person's process. You are chosen not because of perfection, but because you keep coming. You carry a light that is not only for you. It teaches by presence. Hold to that. Cultivate the quiet attention you practiced here, and watch how the ordinary rearranges itself into meaningful doors. Keep shining your light. Remain present, breathe, and absorb this energy in gratitude.